The next topic that we are going to discuss is the unilateral Laplace transform. Whatever topic we have discussed till this point was bilateral Laplace transform. So whatever questions, the region of convergence, properties of Laplace transform, properties of ROC, and the inverse Laplace transform and the LTI system, all these topics we have discussed under the context of bilateral Laplace transform. Now we will be looking at the unilateral Laplace transform. The unilateral Laplace transform is denoted and defined as capital X of S is equal to integration 0 to infinity. If you remember, for bilateral Laplace transform, the integration goes from minus infinity to infinity. But for unilateral Laplace transform, it goes only from 0 to infinity. The unilateral Laplace transform is also called as one-sided Laplace transform. The definition of this will be e raised to minus st x of t dt. Therefore, the only difference between unilateral Laplace and bilateral Laplace is the limits of the integration. Please remember, in bilateral, the integration is from minus infinity to infinity, whereas in unilateral, the integration is only from 0 to infinity. We will solve some questions in order to understand the difference between bilateral and unilateral Laplace transform. We will take 4 examples, and for each of the example, we will calculate the unilateral Laplace transform. Let us start with the first, which is u of t minus 3. The first question that we are solving for unilateral Laplace transform is u of t minus 3. If you look at the plot of u of t minus 3, u of t minus 3 is a unit step function which starts from 3 and goes to infinity. The amplitude always remains 1. Now, by definition, the unilateral Laplace transform is defined as integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus st x of t dt. But since the function is starting from infinity 3 and going to infinity, we can write this as integration 3 to infinity e raised to minus st into 1 into dt. Therefore, this will be integration 3 to infinity e raised to minus st dt. The integration of e raised to minus st will be e raised to minus st divided by minus s within the limit 0 to infinity, within the limit 3 to infinity. Therefore, capital X of S will be e raised to minus s into infinity minus e raised to minus 3s divided by minus s. If you remember, from the previous discussion, we want Laplace transform to be finite. For Laplace transform to be finite, this exponential term should be minus infinity. For the exponential term to be minus infinity, we need s should be positive. We need s to be positive. Therefore, capital X of S will be e raised to minus infinity minus e raised to minus 3s divided by minus s. Since s should be positive, I should write s greater than 0. Therefore, the unilateral Laplace transform comes out to be e raised to minus 3s by s. The ROC is s greater than 0. I hope we have understood how to solve the unilateral Laplace transform. Let us go to the next question, which will be u of t plus 3. The u of t plus 3 is a unit step signal that starts from minus 3 and goes to infinity, whose amplitude is 1. Now, as per definition, the unilateral Laplace transform has to be integrated from 0 to infinity. But the function is going from minus 3 to infinity. In such a case, we will take the function only from 0 to infinity. because negative side is not allowed in unilateral Laplace transform. Therefore, this will be limit capital X of s integration 0 to infinity. This will be e raised to minus st into 1 into dt. Please note that the signal is going from minus 3 to infinity, but the integration is performed only from 0 to infinity. Why is this happening? Because in unilateral we do not consider the negative side of the signal. The integration of e raised to minus st will be e raised to minus st divided by minus s within the limit 0 to infinity. So this will be e raised to minus infinity minus e raised to 0 by minus s. Again, the exponential term here should be e raised to minus infinity. The exponential term should be e raised to minus infinity because we want Laplace transform to be finite. For exponential to be minus infinity, s should be positive. Therefore, capital X of s is e raised to minus infinity divided by e raised to 0 into minus s. S is greater than 0. Therefore, capital X of s becomes 1 by s. S is greater than 0. Thus, the Laplace transform of u of t plus 3 is same as the Laplace transform of unit step u of t. Therefore, if I compare this, if you remember, for u of t, the bilateral Laplace transform was 1 by s, ROC was s greater than 0. But what we have proved in this case is that for u of t plus 3, the unilateral Laplace transform is 1 by s with ROC s greater than 0. As you can observe, we have two different signals. One we have solved for bilateral, the other we have solved for unilateral. Their Laplace transform and ROC are same. The signals are different. Why the answer is same is because of the limit of integration. The third question we are solving is u of minus t plus 3. The signal u of minus t plus 3 starts from 3 and goes to minus infinity. Since the signal starts from 3 and goes to minus infinity, the unilateral Laplace transform is calculated as integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus st x of t dt. Therefore, capital X of s will be equal to, now if you observe, in unilateral we do not consider the negative side of the signal. Therefore, in this case, the amount of signal on the positive side is only from 0 to 3. Therefore, this integration will go from 0 to 3. I would again repeat, in unilateral Laplace transform, we do not consider the negative side of the signal. We do not consider the signal that exists for negative time. We consider only that portion of the signal which is present for positive time. As you can observe, for positive time, the signal is present only from 0 to 3. Therefore, we will take the integration from 0 to 3. E raised to minus st into 1 into dt. In this case, the answer will come out to be capital X of s is equal to e raised to minus st divided by minus s with the limit 0 to 3. So, the Laplace transform comes out to be e raised to minus 3s divided by e raised to minus 0 by s. Therefore, capital X of s is e raised to minus 3s minus 1 by minus s. You can remove the minus sign by writing this as 1 minus e raised to minus 3s by s. There is no ROC here. Since we have not written any ROC, we can say the ROC for this question is the entire S-plane. Why is the ROC entire S-plane? Because we are integrating only from 0 to 3. Since you are integrating for finite duration, this can be called as a finite duration signal. And as we have seen from properties of ROC, for a finite duration signal, the ROC is entire S-plane. We will now consider the fourth question. In the next question, we have u of minus t minus 3. This unit step signal starts from minus 3 and goes to minus infinity. As you can observe, the signal lies completely on the negative side of time. There is no signal for positive time. Since there is no signal for positive time, we will say the unilateral Laplace transform, which is 0 to infinity e raised to minus st x of t dt. Now from 0 to infinity, that is for positive time, there is no signal. Since there is no signal, we will say the unilateral Laplace transform does not exist for this question. We say that the unilateral Laplace transform does not exist for this question. Therefore, we will compare the four questions that we have solved for the unilateral and bilateral case. The first question was u of t minus 3. Second was u of t plus 3. Third was u of minus t plus 3. And the fourth question was u of minus t minus 3. For each question, we will look at the bilateral Laplace transform and the unilateral Laplace transform. For u of t minus 3, the bilateral Laplace transform is e raised to minus 3s by s. Whereas the unilateral Laplace transform also we have found out is e raised to minus 3s by s. Therefore, for the first signal, you can observe that the unilateral and bilateral Laplace transform are same. For the second question, the bilateral Laplace transform was e raised to 3s by s. Whereas for the second question, the unilateral Laplace transform was 1 by s. As you can observe, the bilateral and unilateral Laplace transform are different. In the next question, the bilateral Laplace transform comes out to be e raised to minus 3s by minus s. Whereas the unilateral Laplace transform we have calculated comes out to be 1 minus e raised to minus 3s by s. For the last question, the bilateral Laplace transform is e raised to 3s by minus s, whereas the unilateral Laplace transform does not exist. Thus, we can definitely conclude that bilateral and unilateral Laplace transform will be same if the signal exists completely for positive time. For second and third question, a portion of signal is present for negative time. When a portion of signal is present for negative time, the unilateral and bilateral Laplace transform are different. If the signal completely exists, fourth question is a signal which completely exists for negative time. If the signal completely exists for negative time, then unilateral Laplace transform does not exist. The next topic we will look at is the properties of unilateral Laplace transform. All properties of unilateral Laplace transform are same as the bilateral Laplace transform. Only two properties are different for unilateral and bilateral Laplace transform. We will be looking at the properties which are different. All remaining properties are same. The next topic we discuss is properties of unilateral Laplace transform. The first property of unilateral Laplace transform that we are looking at is the differentiation in time. The differentiation in time property can be expressed as if capital X of s is the unilateral Laplace transform of x of t, then the unilateral Laplace transform of derivative of x of t is expressed as s into x of s minus x of 0. X of 0 is called as the initial condition and it is value of the signal at time 0. Similarly, for a double derivative of signal x of t, the unilateral Laplace transform can be expressed as s square x of s minus s into x of 0 minus x dash of 0. In this case, we have two initial conditions which is x of 0 and x dash of 0. X dash of 0 is the derivative of signal evaluated at time t is equal to 0. Now this property of unilateral Laplace transform is different than bilateral. Let us see how this property behaves in the bilateral Laplace transform. In bilateral Laplace transform, for d by dt x of t, the bilateral Laplace transform is s into x of s. Whereas for a double derivative, the bilateral Laplace transform is s square x of s. Therefore, if you observe, the difference between bilateral and unilateral is that in unilateral we consider the initial conditions, whereas in bilateral we are not considering the initial conditions. So now the natural question that arises from this situation is that when do we use unilateral property, when do we use bilateral property? You should use the unilateral property when initial conditions are given to you, and you should use the bilateral property when initial conditions are not given to you. In the question, they will never say use unilateral or use bilateral. In the question, they will always say Laplace transform. We have to understand whether to use unilateral or bilateral. That depends on whether the initial conditions are given or initial conditions are not given. If the initial conditions are not given, you use bilateral. If they give you initial conditions that x of 0, x dash of 0, then you should use unilateral Laplace transform. This property is widely required for solving differential equations with initial conditions. When we discuss gate questions, we will discuss a question where a differential equation has initial conditions, and we will solve that differential equation by using the differentiation property of unilateral Laplace transform. We will go to the next property, which is integration in time. The next property we will discuss for unilateral Laplace transform is the integration property. The integration property we have already discussed in bilateral Laplace transform. We are again discussing the same property in unilateral Laplace transform because there is a minute difference. Let us understand what is the minute difference. In unilateral Laplace transform, if x of t has a Laplace transform of x of s, then the integration from 0 to t x of tau d tau, the unilateral Laplace transform will be x of s by s. This is the property in unilateral Laplace transform. What is different for bilateral? So I have also written the integration property for bilateral Laplace transform so that you understand the difference. The only difference is that in bilateral we take the integration from minus infinity to t, whereas in unilateral the integration should be taken from 0 to t. Why do we take the integration from 0 to t? Because in unilateral we consider only that portion of the signal which is from 0 to infinity, whereas in bilateral we consider any portion of the signal from minus infinity to infinity. I hope you have noted down the minute difference between the integration property for bilateral and unilateral. I would repeat that the difference between the two is only the limit of the integration. In this case, in the case of unilateral, the limit is from 0 to t, whereas in case of bilateral, the limit is from minus infinity to t. Only two properties we will discuss for unilateral Laplace transform. All other properties for unilateral are same as bilateral. For example, time shifting property is same for unilateral and bilateral. Shifting in S domain is same for unilateral and bilateral. Time reversal property same for unilateral bilateral. Time scaling property same for unilateral bilateral. Convolution property same for unilateral bilateral. Only two properties are different which we have discussed. One is the differentiation in time property and second is the integration property. You should note the difference between the two properties. The next topic we go to is initial value theorem and final value theorem. The next topic that we are going to is the initial value theorem and the final value theorem. This is the last topic that we are discussing for Laplace transform. After this, we will discuss some gate questions on Laplace transform. So what is initial value theorem and what is final value theorem? In the initial value theorem, we calculate the initial value of signal. Now what do you mean by the initial value of signal? Initial value of the signal is the value of signal at time t is equal to 0. That is represented by x of 0. This is sometimes also written as limit t tends to 0 x of t, which is again representation of value of x at t is equal to 0. Now according to initial value theorem, the initial value can be calculated from its Laplace transform. How do you calculate initial value from the Laplace transform? The initial value can be calculated by using limit s tends to infinity s into capital X of s. This statement is called as the initial value theorem. We get lot of questions in competitive exams where you have to use initial value theorem to find the initial value of signal at x of 0. We will also be discussing some questions where we will be calculating the initial value. Similarly, a final value theorem helps us to calculate final value of the signal. The final value of the signal is also called as the steady state value. So, in question sometimes they are not writing final value, they are writing steady state value. Whether it is final value or steady state value, it is one and the same thing. The final value or steady state value is the value of x when time t goes to infinity. This is represented as x of infinity, or it is also represented as limit t tends to infinity x of t. It means we are trying to calculate value of the signal as time becomes infinity or time t is infinity. The final value theorem states that the final value can be calculated by using its Laplace transform, and the formula is limit s tends to 0 s into x of s. Therefore, the final value theorem can be written as limit t tends to infinity x of t will be equal to limit s tends to 0 s into capital X of s. This is the final value theorem. In competitive exams, lot of questions are asked on initial value and final value theorem. Next, we will take some questions on unilateral Laplace transform and initial and final value theorem. Before we proceed to questions, there are three important points I want you to remember about the final value theorem. Point number 1, final value theorem can be used if the poles of capital X of s lie to the left hand side of j omega axis. So point number 1, I would repeat, what you have to remember is that final value theorem can be used if the poles of capital X of s lie to the left hand side of j omega axis. If the poles of capital X of s are to the right hand side, then the final value does not exist. And since the final value does not exist, you should not use the final value theorem. The third point that you have to remember is if capital X of s has poles on j omega axis. If capital X of s has poles on j omega axis, then the final value lies always between +1 and -1. And in that case also, this formula should not be used. Therefore, I would repeat the 3 points that you have to remember about the final value theorem. First point is, use the final value theorem if the poles are to the left hand side. If the poles are to the left hand side, the final value theorem will give you the final value of the signal. Second point, if the poles are to the right hand side, then the signal is unbounded, final value does not exist. In this case, you should not use the final value theorem. In the third point, if capital X of s has poles on the j omega axis, then the final value will be between +1 and -1. Since the final value will be between +1 and -1, you should not use the final value theorem, because in that case, the final value theorem will give you the incorrect answer.